Hey guys, I'm Dominique Storm. Welcome back to episode 6 of Healing Hoes Ain't Hating. The subtitle to this episode is going to be Family. So if you guys are new here, thank you for clicking on my video. I hope you guys enjoy my content. And if you do, check out my other videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're returning, thank you so much. Episode 6. Woo, woo. I appreciate you guys. I always got to be extra, but I appreciate you guys. I have 4 more episodes that I would like to record, and then I'm going to take a break from this series, and I want to focus on other things. So if you guys do like this content, comment below. Let me know more things that you guys would like to discuss or that you're interested in about me, or just whatever it is. Just comment below, let me know. And I always offer trigger warnings. By now, if you guys are here, it's because you want to be here for whatever reason it is. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, if you trigger by anything I say, it might just be something that you might want to take a deeper look inside and stuff like that. I'm not here to trigger anyone. I just want to share my story and my thoughts and ideas. That's all. All right, guys. So I just kind of want to get into it. So, family. All right. I grew up in a household with my mother and father and my oldest sister. Me and my oldest sister, we're 5 years apart, but we just tell people that we're 4 years apart because our birthdays are really close to each other. She's December and I'm in January. So, and just to give you, the people that's into zodiac signs and stuff like that, like myself, just to give you guys context of, of the overview of my home. My father was a Leo. My mom is a Gemini. My sister's a Sagittarius. And I'm an Aquarius. So that's just a little boom. So, growing up in my household, with these other 3 individuals, it was a pretty interesting time. Cause I don't really want to put other people, out there. I want to talk about myself. But what I will say is that I grew up in a very chaotic household. It was a lot of domestic violence and other things that took place. But also I grew up in a home with love. I always say to myself, and I probably have said it to other people, that I feel like I grew up with enough love as a child that will last me a lifetime. Like the things that were important to me, the love that was important to me as a teenager, and other times, whether it's because it was my choice or somebody else's, whatever it was. I believe that the love that I received from my parents as a child literally was enough to fuel me for the rest of this my life on this earth. And the reason why I say that is because no matter what I've been through, it hasn't changed my heart. Like, I'm still a loving, caring person. Like, nothing I've been through has, it gets, I get, it's like warnings, like, all right, you see that pattern, that person, all right, don't deal with that, or this is a good person, I like that, okay, cool. But it hasn't really shaped my heart. It hasn't stopped me from wanting to love and to, still care about humans. But anyway, back to my family. So yeah, so I did grow up, witnessing a lot of crazy stuff, but I've also a lot of love was poured into me, especially like during holidays and stuff like that. We used to have really big, amazing Christmases. My mother, she used to do that. Other holidays and stuff like that, we had a lot of love. That's one thing I would like to say. We had a lot of love. So, all right. So you guys, I may have mentioned before, I grew up I'm from the Bronx. Yes, I like to throw that out there. I am from the Bronx, but I was born in Harlem Hospital, and I also grew up in Harlem. So my grandmother, she lived in Harlem on Convent Avenue, right across the street from, City College, just to give a little, little reference of the neighborhood. So I would spend my weekends there, and I would spend summers, any kind of like vacation, holiday vacations, we out of school, I will always spend in Harlem up until about 9 to 12. That's kind of like when I kind of like started to do my own thing, just hang out with my friends in the Bronx. But I always lived in the Bronx from a child. Like maybe like one period I didn't live in the Bronx as a child, but for the most part I lived in the Bronx. So I am from the Bronx, but I definitely grew up in Harlem. So when I used to go to my grandmother's house, there were like so many different children. Like my grandmother always had a house full of kids, especially on holidays, weekends, things like that. Like my grandmother crib was the place you wanted to be at when you were younger, at least for me and my cousins and stuff like that. And I guess since everybody got a certain age and everybody started doing their thing. But the unique thing about being at my grandmother's house, I was one of the only ones that were like in my age group, right? I had one other cousin that she was a couple of weeks older than me, so we spent a lot of time together. But I used to be a little crazy. Well, I'm still crazy, but when I was a kid, so I guess she needed her little space. She needed not her little space, but she needed some space from me. So I wasn't around her all the time. So when I was at my grandmother's house, we had my uncle and my aunt. They were like in their early 20s, so we had them, my cousins that are around that age group and their friends that's always at my grandmother's house. Then you have my sister and my cousins and their friends that they're 4, 5, 6 years older than me and stuff like that. Then you have my little cousins that were like basically like babies, 1, 2, 3. And then I had another cousin that was like 2 years, he's like 2 years younger than me. So, and he can kind of go off with the younger kids. I spent a lot of time by myself, and during these times I used to get into a lot of trouble. I used to get into a lot of trouble around this time. And as an adult, looking back, I was getting in trouble because I was bored. I didn't have anyone to be around. Like, nobody who wanted to be around me. Like, I didn't really want to be around the older kids. My sister and my cousins around that age group, they didn't want to really be around me. Every now and then, they'll let me, talk or whatever, be around them. And then my uncle and them. So I used to spend a lot of time just watching and listening and just being nosy and just, I got a lot of secrets, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. So that's another part of me too that I think about. If you guys watched earlier episodes, I spoke about me not really fitting in with my friends and stuff like that. So even with my family, I really felt like I never really fit in with the family on my mom's side. So also I grew up around the family from my father's side. In particular, with me and my sister, it was 3 cousins. So it was 5 of us all together that used to, we grew up, as long as I can remember, they were in my life. I don't remember, a pinpoint, I met them when I was 4. I just remember they was always there. So excuse me. So, yeah, so on my father's side, so we used to hang out a lot together. And, of course, with other family members around our age and stuff like that. I was the youngest, so I kind of still really didn't feel like I kind of fitted in either. I never really felt like I fit in with anybody. I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about. I never really felt in, but all right. Anyway, so I grew up with them, and then as we gotten older and stuff like that, it was more cousins and stuff like that. So with teenagers, we would hang out with each other. That was a pretty good time too, because we were teenagers and we were going out to parties and having a really good time. So like I said, never really felt like I quite fit in, but I definitely had a good time. So growing up, I never really was the type of kid to take junk, you know what I mean? To take crap from anybody. I'm still like that as an adult, but I'm a lot more reserved, but not to just kind of brush over. But I wasn't somebody to be played with. I I don't know, just even as a kid, like, I don't care if I won, lost the fight. Like, I used to be a fighter. Like, believe it or not, I was a fighter, like, for a long period in my life. This is even before, like, I met my friends as teenagers. This is 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, ready to pop off Dominique. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm saying this to say, like, I wasn't a saint, but I'm just reflecting back on things that I had to, like, heal through, that I allow these things to, like, be a part of my identity. So that's why I'm sharing, like, background with my different family members and stuff like that. Growing up, you know, kids will be kids, so I don't hold any of this to heart with anybody as of now, because I was able to, you know, grow and heal through it. But I didn't realize how much stuff like this affected me. So, like, growing up with my family and stuff like that, I used to, you know, not saying that I was the same and stuff like that, but, like, I remember things like, my childhood nickname is Dami. And I mean, like, you know, that's my family nickname is Dami. And a lot of my family, like the kids, when we were younger, I'm not like holding nothing against anybody now, but they used to call me Dummy. So shit like that kind of like stuck with me. And it's crazy because I was like, that's my kid mind. But like to think now, like, girl, like, Dummy, when? Like, you always got good grades and stuff like that in school. Like, I don't understand. But, you know, as a child, so I used to allow, so the things that people used to say would affect me. So I used to put people on a pedestal for many years. I used to think that people were better than me and smarter than me and different things. Like, I didn't graduate high school. And I used to, you know, feel like if you had your high school diploma, you were better than me, you were smarter than me. It took me a long time to, like, step in my own power and to realize, like, girl, like, woman, no, you know what I mean? So things like that affected me. Also, when I was a child, like, people used to always have something to say about, like, what I'm wearing, the way that I dress and stuff like that, because I used to dress like a boy. I have a love for men clothing since I was a kid. I grew up watching my uncle in the 90s, and he used to dress, like, so freaking cool. And my cousins and stuff like that, they used to dress dope, like, and they from Harlem. So that's just what I grew up watching, and I really didn't care about what the ladies was wearing. So people used to, like, judge me based off of what I was wearing and different things like that. So the way that kind of affect me as an adult, it kind of, like, made me kind of, like, even, you know, even as a child, it kind of, like, stumped me from, like, actually expressing myself through clothing. And it's like, wow, I didn't realize how bad that was. And that's something that I want to fix this year. I kind of really want to just be me, like, whatever I want to wear, whatever I want to. I kind of been doing it already, but I don't really buy a lot of clothes and stuff like that. But I kind of really want to get back into that. Those are a lot of things that I look back on. I was like, damn, like, I didn't realize that those things affected me. And I'm sure that I have affected other people. I'm not coming up here, you know, like, saying, like, oh, Dami's a saint, Dominique's a saint. Like, nah, baby. Like, that ain't it. Like, my mouth was crazy when I was a kid. Like, trust me, I'm sure. And I was always with the, whatever time we was on, I was on that time too. So I'm not saying that I was a saint and stuff like that. I'm just, like, reflecting things that affected me. Also, another thing that I don't think that people speak about in just growing up, like, African Americans, because I can't speak about any other race and stuff like that. Black people, daughters having their fathers in their lives. I think that causes a lot of jealousy. That's something that a lot of people don't really speak about. That's something that a lot of people don't speak about. Like, a lot of people being jealous because, you know, someone's father is present in their lives and their father is not present in their lives. So those are things, you know, those are ways, you know, as kids, I think a lot of kids form jealousy behind stuff like that. Just not having that, you know, their father present. But I do want to say, like, regardless of how I felt about my father, I'm very grateful that he was present. My takeaway with family is pretty much like almost the same, probably like with my friends. Like, you know, family are people. They're gonna, you know, you're gonna have loving family members. You're gonna have great family members. You're gonna have supportive family members. You're gonna have hating family members. You're gonna have jealous family members. You're gonna have, you know, they're just regular people. So just like with your friends, you know, your family is always going to be your family no matter what, right? But you get to choose who you want into your life. If these people are not fitting your narrative, who you are, who you want to be, it's okay to say, you know what, I love you, but you know what we got going on, it ain't working. Or you could just be like, peace out, you know what I'm saying? So it's pretty much whatever floats your boat, but I don't think that it's okay to, you know, just because someone is your family, I don't think that you should stick around and suffer. And that goes for your mom, that goes for your dad, that goes for your cousin, your sister, your brother, your mama-in-law, everybody. Like, if people are, you know, they're not fitting your narrative, it's okay to give them space or just not deal with them. And, you know, obviously this is just my personal take on it. You do whatever suits you best, but this is just, you know, obviously my take on it. Thank you guys. If you made it this far, this is episode 6. We have 4 more episodes before I wrap up the Healing Hoes Ain't Hating. I guess we could say like season 1 or series 1 or whatever. And then maybe at the end of the year, I'll come back if, you know, if I learn something new, and, you know, we'll see how it goes. But just thank you for supporting. I appreciate you guys sticking around this far.